Good morning, everyone. And yeah, indeed, Paul, it's really a pleasure to see you on this side of the Atlantic. So thanks for inviting us, giving us the chance to speak, and for organizing this. From what I see over the first 2 hours, really a marvelous setup again. So really great. Crystal and myself, we would like to introduce you HELM in more detail over the next 15 minutes. HELM is a company, why partnership is so essential to us, and how we are using this for the topic of sustainability. So diving a bit more into detail into company structure, then sort of explaining to you partnership and sustainability, why these topics belong together for us, and then explaining to you in detail how we are sort of really driving this towards projects and product level. So next year, HELM will be celebrating its 125th anniversary. So we were founded in 1900 by a guy called, at that time, Carl Otto HELM. And the 50 years of that, the first 50 years of the company, we were, let's say, a general and export company. That changed then in 1950, because then Hermann Schnabel bought the company, and he focused the company on chemical trading. And under his leadership, we also started to build our global organization. And when he handed the business over to his son, Dieter Schnabel, in the late 1970s, then Dieter Schnabel recognized that pure trading was not a business model going forward, but building long-term partnerships was really an essential driver for us, both to the customer side, industrial customers, but more so to the producing side. Because with the backing of, the structural backing of producers, we can play basically a sustainable and a reliable role to the consuming industry. And since 2000, we have the third generation, Stefan Schnabel, as the leader of the company, being the CEO. And he, of course, builds on the legacy of his father and his grandfather, but he is also recognizing that HELM has a responsibility for taking care of the planet, and that we must somehow incorporate this into our businesses. So just a few numbers. We are active in more than 30 countries around the globe, and you can see how important partnership is for us, because we are doing this with almost 100 joint ventures, association partnerships. Also worthwhile to note is that we are basically operating in 3 different business lines. I'm representing the chemicals business, and that's in terms of turnover and volumes being moved, also the biggest activity. Then we're having a business of crop solutions, which consists out of our fertilizer business, crop protection, and also some digital agri undertakings. And then over the last years, we're building up a new business with also significant investments, which is our energy materials business. So I mentioned our global network, and really we are represented around the globe in all major chemical markets around the world. And that's really also one of the core assets which we are bringing to the table when we're operating with industrial producers. But we're not simply moving volumes. We are looking to sort of tailor offerings around financials, around supply chain, around contractual agreements, and with the product and market know-how to make sure that we are best placing the volumes of producers in the target markets. Now, let's dive into the topic of partnership and sustainability. I think for the success of projects, it's really important that you sort of have the right slate of competencies around the table. And that's what we're basically aiming for, to bring our core competencies to the table and facilitate the success of projects. Now, the clear core competencies we are having is operating supply chains and having the product, the market know-how, and bringing the product to the chemical markets. We could also get engaged in specific raw material supplies, so not necessarily if we're talking oil and gas or naphtha, but if it's chemical products which are sort of needed for the process as raw materials, then we can play a role. And I will show this to you. In some cases, we are also providing financing that can be a minority position in terms of equity or other tailored financing supports. But what this also shows is there is clearly a dimension which we are not able to cover, which is on the potential raw material side, if it's like oil and gas or agricultural feedstocks, but it's also in terms of technology development, engineering, and operations. So for this, we need to engage in partnerships, otherwise a project could not be successful. So HELM as a corporate has developed an ambition plan of where we want to be in the various dimensions concerning sustainability by 2030. And for us in the chemicals business, this is really broken down into a strategy which basically consists out of 3 pillars. First, we want to keep our existing business, but we understand that we need to reduce the carbon footprint. So together with our partners, we want to stepwise decarbonize. And then we're looking into innovative solutions around circular economy or bio-based feedstock where we can then drive growth. But again here, our strategy would run completely short if we would not sort of have selective and good partners, which then would help us to bring successful projects to the finish line and introduce them to the market. And with the following section, we really sort of want to deep dive into a number of flagship projects and explain to you what are we bringing to the table, what are the projects about, and where are they in terms of their status. So the first thing which I would like to introduce to you is a Danish company, again. Their slogan is, if you think CO2 is bad, then think again. So they have developed an innovative technology to basically do carbon capture. And they're having as raw materials waste CO2, hydrogen, and bacteria, convert that into acetic acid. They have successfully tested that in the demonstration unit. So that's basically the demonstration unit here in close to Copenhagen in Denmark. And in the coming days, they will select the site for their first commercial unit. And this is really what they are doing. So biogenic or other CO2 sources are basically captured, led into a bioreactor, and then together with hydrogen, bacteria are digesting this towards chemical products, in this specific case, acetic acid. And acetic acid is one of the core products for us in our acetyls business. So we are then taking care and bringing this to the market. So, and you see here from this competence scope that this really is supply chain, marketing the product. This is what we are primarily bringing to the table. The other dimensions, technology engineering, operations, raw material supply, financing, that's organized by again. But we have a deep partnership. So for example, the financing was really facilitated by us signing a long-term offtake agreement, because that was considered by the investors as a de-risking to that project, right? We're also supporting them with our project management know-how, which we have gathered from other projects, engaging with them in side stream utilization, and we're having joint appearances at conferences and do some joint public relation topics. So that's really the partnership with, again, another example to illustrate to you is Trillium Renewable Chemicals. Trillium is scaling up an IP-protected technology which they have developed towards the commercial production of acrylonitrile. And the innovative point is here that they are using glycerine. Glycerine is a byproduct from the biodiesel production and from the veg oil processing. It really helps to deliver low carbon footprint acrylonitrile, which has versatile applications which fits perfectly into our chemical product portfolio. And there, the next step is going to be that by beginning of next year, they will start to operate a demonstration unit at the Eneos Nitriles site in Green Lake. So, and our engagement there, again, of course, the core competencies, supply chain, marketing, sales are there. But we have also engaged as a Series A investor. So together with Yusung from South Korea and Capricorn Partners from Belgium. So that means we are a shareholder and supporting them from that perspective, also via a board of directors seat. And we could potentially play a role there in the sourcing of glycerine, right? Then the next example to show you is Black Bear Carbon. Black Bear Carbon, a Dutch company that has developed an innovative technology to produce recycled carbon black, and they're producing this from the rubber fraction of waste tires, which is a problematic waste stream around the globe. Again, versatile operations and applications. And we would expect that the groundbreaking of this unit, commercial unit, would be in Q1 2025 in the south of the Netherlands. So startup could be early 2027. And again, you see here us sort of with our core competencies contributing. Black Bear itself will then take care of the technology and engineering, the raw materials, operations, and there's a group of financiers with a Dutch decarbonization fund and Capricorn Partners. And with this, I hand over to Crystal because she's our global marketing lead for QIRA and she's best qualified to explain the next action project to you. Oops.
Thank you, Norbert. So I'm actually excited to be here today to talk about one specific project that HELM is a partner in regarding QIRA. And how I like to get that started off is explaining some names as I talk today so you know what I'm talking about, right? So QIRA is the name of our joint venture. QIRA will be manufacturing QIRA, and we'll get into what QIRA is in just a minute. And how this is so unique is it's a partnership, a joint venture between Cargill and HELM. And each of those parent companies play a key role in the success, and we'll kind of go over that on the last slide, kind of how Norbert's been doing. But to get into QIRA is our manufacturing facility, and it is located adjacent to a Cargill biorefinery in Eddyville, Iowa. So it's great for us, being that our feedstock comes from corn, right? We'll be receiving that via pipeline. We are on schedule for production, and not just a pilot production, at large capacity. We're talking mass scale so that we can get out to some major brands and retailers, right? We don't want to be a pilot scale up. We actually want to make a difference in the market industries that we can. Of that, and being said, about 2/3 of our production is already under allocation, meaning it is contractually obligated to customers. So we're looking to place that last third of a volume very strategically. And one thing that we want to focus on is the value that QIRA brings, and finding those partnerships that take value in not only this product being bio-based and being available at scalable market size, but the fact that it's a drop-in replacement, right? We feel like it's important. We already know bio products come with a premium, and this is a huge issue that the market, several markets, are having to address, and it's coming to realization as legislation changes, and as we see more and more consumers and brands pushing for this, right? Who's paying for it? Well, we were focused on creating a drop-in replacement so that it would reduce the capital expenditure and additional financial backing that the consumer or the component manufacturer, whatever we're producing, has to pay. So it was just strategic in being a drop-in replacement, same molecule for molecule, same performance. We've had the opportunity to test some pilot samples in different industries, whether that be from fabric, PTMEG to TPU, PU for footwear. So super excited to see the same performance. We weren't expecting anything different, but good to be validated. And of course, overall, it reduces your carbon emissions, right? So helping reach those sustainability goals. A little bit about our production method and why it's so unique. We use corn, shocker, right? Seems to be like a common topic for today, being that we're in Nebraska. But from that corn, we use industrial or dent corn. A lot of people think food consumption. I think everyone in this room probably knows the difference, so I won't go into too much detail. But from that, Cargill will extract the starch, which is about 62% of the corn kernel, And from that, they will provide us dextrose. We will take the dextrose and put it through a fermentation process with microorganisms, and out will come PO. Sounds simple, it's really not. But what makes us different, and why did we decide QIRA? We decided to brand our 100% bio-based 1,4-butane-diol, also known as BDO, to differentiate ourselves from the market. We don't want to be tied with any petro BDO in the market. We want to make a difference, and we want to find those strategic partners that value those propositions I just had on the screen, that understands what it brings to the end consumer. And through that, it's very clear that no matter what market or industry you're in, it's going to take collaboration through the entire value chain. So we're not just looking at working with OEMs or component manufacturers or converters. We're going all the way down to the brands and making sure that this messaging is, and the value that it's bringing goes all the way to the end consumer. A prime example of a good partnership that's public knowledge is our partnership with Lycra Fiber, the Lycra company. Here is one example. We show the corn actually going from filled corn to dextrose, spun into PTMEG, and then eventually fiber. So this is a prime example of how we can collaborate together. So we support the Lycra company and all of their marketing and branding needs to roll out a renewable fiber by the Lycra company that will consist of QIRA. And to recap, as Norbert has done on every other project that HELM is rolling out, here you can see where HELM plays a key role, not only in the project, but also as a joint venture alongside of that financial backing. But we play the role in marketing and sales and supply chain. And here you can see the other parent company, Cargill, really takes lead in the engineering and operations and managing the raw materials for our project. So if you have any questions, I'm going to hand it back over to Norbert to wrap up. But we do have a booth, and if you have any questions specific to technology or sustainability, we do have our director here. So please feel free to stop by.
So Paul is getting nervous because we already ran out of time, but coming basically to the end, just to sort of illustrate again what we have shown to you, if we are just for those 4 flagships, right, combine this over the 6 dimensions, then you basically already see the universe of partnership which we have created here. And really, if we would sort of stretch this over into our other business units and into our operations, this would really look like a galaxy of partners, right? I mean, partnership for us is so essential, it's important, and we really value this, right? And partnership, maybe that has come across, I hope so, is really for us the essential enabler for sustainability, right? So we seek partnership because we want to drive a profitable business and create impact. This is going hand in hand for us. This should not be a contradiction, but we have shown to you we cannot do this alone, right? Partnership collaborations are really essential. Otherwise, innovative technologies would not be able to be driven forward to create better chemical products. So, and why are we here? Not just because Paul and his team are always great in organizing the conference. No, we're here to meet you and basically look for the next project that we can basically make fly. So thanks for your attention this morning. And we have basically a meeting space here as a sponsor, which is the meeting space 4. So we're very happy to see you there later on over coffee. Thanks for your attention again, right?